So today we are going to talk about the difference between the standard Glock 19 upper assembly versus PSA's Dagger upper assembly. Now the PSA Dagger is basically the Glock 19. Everything is pretty much interchangeable between this and this. There are a few differences in the PSA Daggers version. They're both about the same weight, so nothing there. The only difference is, for what I can see as far as what's visible, the only difference that I see between the Glock 19 and the PSA Dagger is the metal recoil spring rod here. That happens to be metal here with the spring, and this is like some polymer plastic in the original Gen 3 Glocks here. So you have this plastic recoil spring. Spring is metal, obviously, but the rod here, that holds the spring, is plastic. And the one on PSA's Dagger or Gen 3 Glock 19, it actually fits on my frame, my original Glock 19 frame, so that's what I use it for. I have it on there, works great, never had any issues, no feeding problems, no failure to extract, no double feeding, anything like that. It's ran flawlessly, it's perfect. And the deal I got with this one, I'll talk about here in a second, but I just wanted to show you that the internals, so this is the PSA's Dagger assembly here, and it does fit inside nice and flush with the center hole here, and it does fit nice perfectly with the Glock 19 original Glock 19 Gen 3 slide here. Now there is a few differences between the two here, and I will go ahead and talk about that. The reason I got just to give an update, the reason I got this Gen 3 or this PSA Dagger is because, I just got the upper, I didn't even get the lower, is because I wanted to be able to mount a red dot, because I want to start using red dots on my firearms, or at least as many of the firearms as I can, and I wanted to get used to using red dots. Still kind of getting used to it, getting a lot better with the red dot. It's much faster to acquire a target with the red dot. It basically has the same muscle memory as you would with just using iron sights as you would a red dot, because your red dot's, right there, as long as you have the same muscle memory as lining up your iron sights. Now the front and rear sights on this are taller than the Gen 3 here sights. I do like the sights on the Glock, which I might end up just popping a little white marker or something on here and at the end here, so I have some dot references that might make it a little bit faster to get on target. But I can co-witness with these because these are suppressor height. I think they're like 1/3, I believe, and it came with the Hollow Sun 507C ×2, and then it also came with a threaded barrel. But as far as I can tell, everything else is the same between the two. They all look the same. There's a couple differences actually. The one difference is there's no front serrations here on the Gen 3, and there's no actual slide cuts for keeping you from getting snagged as much on your holster. So this one's got some pretty generous slide cuts here at the front, and then also along the edges going down the side here at the front of the barrel. Also, this has the front serrations, which are very nice. I mean, my fingers just grip it very easily. They're angled at a way that it really does work very well. Same with the rears, they work very well. Now that I have this, I sometimes I just hold it right up here on my hollow sun and just rack around. But other than that, I haven't been able to use the threaded barrel yet. I was thinking about maybe trying to put one of those threaded compensators on here or something just to see how that might affect anything. But as far as overall, I mean, overall, this thing's awesome. It was $419 with the optic, and you can't beat that price. I mean, that's awesome. They do make these also without the optic, which I think they run anywhere between 199 to 220, 240, depending on what style of slide you get. You know, sometimes they have the cutouts in them, so you can see the barrel. Other ones have like a doctor cut type of footprint for your optics. So like if you're running like a burst fast fire like this is a burst fast fire too, and it takes a doctor footprint, not the RMR style like the hollow sun. So the hollow sun takes a RMR, burst fast fires too, I know for sure takes a doctor footprint because I had to get this dovetail mount in a doctor footprint for the burst fast fire. So I tried this initially using the dovetail mount. Didn't like it. It sits up higher on the barrel. In fact, you can put these two together here and put the bottoms of the frames here. And you can see actually that the burst fast fire sits up higher than the hollow sun. Now this being sitting down lower, it's more natural point of aim as like I was using with my just standard sights than this one where I don't have the co-witness because I had to take the dovetail rear sight off and put this plate on that's underneath this optic here. And so you're actually aiming up a little bit. Your optic's up a little bit higher here, so you have to actually aim down lower like this to get a hit on the target. It does work, don't get me wrong, but it'll mess you up for a while. You have to practice a lot with this just to kind of get that back into aiming at the right spot so you're not spending so much time trying to find a dot. I do like the burst fast fire. The one thing I don't like about it is that you have to manually turn it on and off. This one's a shake awake, so I just don't have to press anything. I leave it at the setting I want. It adjusts its setting for brightness levels outside or inside. So if it's darker, the dot's going to be a little bit less bright. If it's brighter outside, the optic will be brighter. And then this also has the solar on top also, so I'm not using the battery all the time, which I like. So it's about a 50,000, depending on your brightness setting, about a 50,000 hour run, I believe, on the Hollow Sun 507Cs, which are quite a few years. So I don't have to replace this battery for quite a while, which I like. Anyway, so it also does have a couple little just cutouts here and right here on the slide just to reduce some weight, I'm assuming. Doesn't affect the functionality of the firearm. Like I said, this thing's smooth, it runs great. I have had zero issues with this. I've shot probably 400 or 500 rounds through this now, and I wanted to just kind of shoot it a while just to see if it's working as well as this has worked. I mean, I've had this for over 20 years, and I've never had any issues with it. I mean, I've shot probably over 1,000 rounds or more out of this, and it still works great. Never replaced anything on it. Still functions just as good as it did when I first started shooting. So this one I'm hoping will keep up. I do know that I can put a different barrel in here if I need to. Otherwise, the barrels I believe are pretty much rifled the same. I think this is they said online this is a hexagonal rifling, something like that, and this is a poly. The Glock is a polygonal rifling. I'm not quite sure exactly what that means, but from what I can see online, it looks like they're both the same from what I read on Google. So I think that the quality and this, I mean, they have, it's very high quality. This is very high quality, and this is obviously very high quality. It's made by Glock. I needed something that could mount a optic on the actual slide, and I found this to be the most cost effective, and that's why I actually ended up going with this. It was, like I said, $420, right around there, for the optic and slide. The slide came complete with the spring, the barrel, all the internal components. So it was ready to go. It was ready just to slide right onto my original Glock Gen 3 frame, and it works great. So haven't had any issues with this at all, and I'm going to keep it for a very long time, I'm suspecting. Now, that's pretty much the only difference between the two. You can find, just like if you wanted to keep your Glock internals and be able to mount an optic on a slide, you could just buy this slide, but I've seen those range anywhere between $199 to $400 or $500, depending on the brand and company you go with. And of course, you know, the higher up they get, the more cutouts they have to lighten the slide. They have more texturing and stuff like that across the slide. But really, as far as functionality goes, and as far as for my price point went, I knew I either needed to get a slide that I wanted to get a better optic for, which was, I was looking at getting a Holosun or maybe a Trijicon or something like that eventually. So I wanted one with an RMR footprint. So when I saw this deal online, it was actually one of their deals you get from their emails, and I wish I was sponsored by them because I really do like their products. But this is actually was really reasonably priced, as this optic alone is right around $300, and the slide fully assembled with the threaded barrel and the cutout here for the optic was, I think, $219 just by itself. So I actually got a pretty decent deal on this, having only paid $420. So I was pretty happy with that and decided to bite the bullet and, you know, figuratively speaking, and go ahead and purchase this. And I've been happy ever since, really, to be honest. I've been very happy with this purchase. It looks great. There's no scratches on it. I've had it in and out of holsters. I do notice a tiny bit of wear right up here, just along the end of the barrel part here, chamber area. And, you know, I got that on my original Glock too. It's much more prominent across here. On this one, just I've shot a lot more rounds through this, so I'm not sure if the process of the spraying is as good or the quality of it is as good. We'll find out. I mean, like I said, I've shot probably about 400 rounds through this, so it's doing really good as far as I can tell. Everything else, though, everything looks the same, from the back plate to the sides to the cuts to everything. The size of it's the same. Same length, everything. The only thing different between this and that is I've got the front striations. I've got the nice little cutouts here for not getting snagged as often. I do have some suppressor height sights just in case I wanted to put one with this threaded barrel that this came with. And it also did have the footprint here, the RMR footprint, so I could just toss on an RMR without any plates or anything like that, and which sat this down low enough to where it's actually much nicer to get on target. So I really do like this. I have a feeling eventually either I'm going to get a new lower or at least replace some of these pieces, maybe get a new trigger or something for this Glock, but I mean, the lower's fine in my opinion. It still functions the same, works great, never had any issues. But just some of the metal components, like the slide release here, is kind of getting worn out, the paint there on it. So anyway, that's the PSA Dagger's upper. It is compatible with the Glock 19 Gen 3 lower. I must say that the spring for the recoil here is quite a bit tighter, but I've used reloaded, remanufactured ammo. That's what I very much use when target shooting, and I've never had any issues with any failure to extracts or anything like that. So it does what it needs to do, and I just trust that it's going to keep doing what it needs to do. Other than that, that's the PSA Dagger complete assembly with the hollow sun. I think I'd wait. Maybe you can find it with free shipping through their emails, and then that's when I would jump on this, and then you would get it for like $420 plus tax or something like that. So it was a pretty good deal, and like I said, I'm very happy with this purchase. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys. Please subscribe, like, comment. Let me know your experience with any PSA products, or if there's any other products you'd like me to try to procure, so I can give you guys an honest review about that. So I thank you for your time again. I hope you have a great day. Right after this, I'm going to film my part 3 of that vehicle I was supposed to get from apparently Matt from Demolition Ranch. I will film that right now after this and get that out to you guys too. So thanks. See you later. Be safe.